Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. And welcome to How Humanities Can Stay Relevant in Today's Classroom. With me here today, we have Husna Hasan. Welcome, Husna, and good luck. Have a very great session. I'll be in the back end if you need anything.
Thank you, Zara, for that warm welcome. So, yeah, so there was a brief introduction about me. So, there's something else that I probably would like you all to know. It is that I was a former intern at the Global Citizenship Education. I interned at Global Citizenship Foundation GCF as a research intern while I was doing my postgrad. So, this is a proud moment for me to present a session here as a former GCF alum and presently working as an academic associate. So I'm aware that at the front, what all you must have seen was a topic called Humanities, a case study of arts and science colleges in Kerala, how humanities has remained relevant in Kerala. So, and I embarked on collecting this case study. I interviewed many arts and science teachers in different arts and government arts and science colleges across Kerala. But I should say that I do not have that optimism that I had when I started off for this case study anymore, which is why you can see that I've tweaked the topic a bit and retitled it as Humanities in Kerala Challenges and Opportunities. So with that disclaimer, I don't want to disappoint you. But then, with that disclaimer, let me go forward to the slides. So while beginning, let me give you a brief about the present state of humanities in Kerala. As you can see from the slides, uh, enrollment for humanities streams in government arts and science colleges is going down. And two main reasons that I arrived at after talking to many professionals in this field are that humanities has a lack of skill specificity, which directly leads to a lack of employability. And this is the one main factor that leads to the going down of enrollment. Because ultimately, what students are looking for is good employment, good salary, etc. So, because of this lack of specificity, we can't guarantee them a specific job. For instance, if you're taking a stream from the sciences field, like for instance, the medical field, you can be a doctor. Or if you are pursuing engineering, you can be an engineer. If you are pursuing a career like that, then you know the specific job at which you can arrive. When we talk of humanities, we talk of multiplicity of job opportunities, and one of although we highlight that as a positive aspect, one of the reason behind is that we have and we need to acknowledge that we have a lack of skill specificity when you're talking about humanities. And you might see that on the slide I've given economics as well. Generally, economics is considered to come under humanities. That is a general, broader Western definition of humanities. But for the purpose of my slides, when I talk about humanities, I'm talking about history, philosophy, language, and literature studies. It doesn't include any of the social sciences elements like economics or sociology into it. So, which means that I will be particularly focusing on pure humanities. So, with that idea of the context in which how humanities is situated in Kerala, we'll move to the next slide, which is data, which says that according to Statista, the employability among graduates with a Bachelor of Arts degree across India was only 44.17. This actually decreased from the previous year. So 47.1% job guarantee is not, it's a bleak situation. It's an abysmal situation. It's a bleak situation. It goes without saying. But the data that I've shown below, just below that, shows that among disciplines at undergraduate level, enrollment is highest in arts, which shows that students have an interest to pursue humanities, which is why at the undergraduate level they're choosing to pursue Master of Bachelor of Arts at the undergraduate level, because most students choose it. And frankly, when I saw this, I was surprised. I was frankly surprised to know that students genuinely have an interest to pursue humanities. That is why we can see, as the data shows, enrollment is highest in the arts. But at the postgraduate level, which is probably the level in which you grow serious about your future career prospects, maximum students are enrolled in the social sciences and the sciences fields. Humanities not known in the question. So that is disappointing. And the reason for that is, as I said previously, is because lack of employability, which arises directly from lack of skill specificity. Okay, so that is another abysmal bleak prospect that we have at Kerala. So Kerala, if you are not aware, is the most educated state in India. So in Kerala, last year, around 30 humanities batches had to discontinue. I would like to point out something. So I was researching on this. I was trying to do a case study. So I saw this symposium that was held at Harvard University that was talking about this very same topic. Now that led me to the understanding that this abysmal situation is not specific to Kerala or India. This trend is being seen worldwide, even in Harvard universities. Like if you look at the Ivy League Western universities, many universities are shutting down the humanities branches, or sometimes funding is being stopped to them. And the reason for that is because children are not choosing to enroll for it. So humanities at this era and time is seen as an impediment to national development, or seen as an impediment to economic development. So all in all, we can see a very uh, dismal, disappointing prospect in humanities in Kerala at the present moment. So, as part of this case study, as part of this breakout session, I interviewed government arts and science college teachers in the Malayalam department, which is a language that is specific to Kerala, and Sanskrit, which is an ancient language in Kerala. Then Hindi, which is spoken by most of Indians, and English departments. I spoke to these teachers and they underscored my observations that student enrollment is going down, and the reason for that is because lack of employability, which arises from lack of skill specificity. Now, some people might argue that humanities should not be spoken in terms of only employment, and I agree with that. I agree with that, that humanities should not only be spoken in terms of employment opportunities. And in the subsequent slides, you will see my assertions for that, why I am saying that, and most of you, I hope, will agree to that. This is a quotation from the Israeli scholar Yuval Noah Harari, and this quotation that he said in an online event called AI and the Future of Humanity. So it goes like this: in the 21st century, philosophers are increasingly filling the roles that scientists once held, as questions about human identity, meaning, and agency have become central in the technological age. Scientists used to be the high priest of truth, explaining the world to us. But now, as we face the possibility of radical technological changes, it is philosophers who are grappling with the most profound questions about our future. So, during this online event called AI and the Future of Humanity, that was the title of the online event, AI and the Future of Humanity, he was having this comparison between scientists and philosophers. So, in the earlier times, he was saying that there was these two communities. There were scientists who had a completely rational mindset, and then there were philosophers who are the representatives of the humanities field. In earlier times, humanities, people who were in the humanities field, or the philosophers, wanted to establish an utopia, which means a completely perfect world. And it was a scientist who reminded them, which is by human nature, utopia cannot be achieved. It is not possible. Be practical. These were the reminders that scientists gave philosophers, because philosophers would dream big, because their idea was to establish an utopia, and scientists would put a realistic limit on that. They were acting as reminders. Uh, Harari is saying that in the present era, in the 21st century, it is philosophers who are filling the roles of scientists in this technological era, because we can see that a lot of changes are happening with the advent of artificial intelligence. Even Neuralinks, electronic chips are being implanted on human brains, and it is philosophers that are increasingly making people aware about the questions of identity and acting as high priest of truth, as you will know Harari puts it. And that is one aspect of it. That is one aspect of why humanities education is important. The other aspect, while I was talking to a native language teacher, was that he gave me this particular data, that said that most of the technologically and scientifically advanced countries primarily use their mother tongue for STEM education and research. And I was surprised because I hadn't noticed this before. He stated the example of Japan, France, Russia, China, Germany. They deal with the science education, even the STEM education in native languages. And if you're not aware, in Commonwealth countries like in India, where I'm speaking, where I'm situated, the primary language is English. Even from a young age, we are encouraged to speak in English. So he was saying that native language education, or any language education for that matter, are seen as an impediment to the rise of technology, the rise of science education. But you look at these countries, these technologically and scientifically advanced countries like Japan, France, Russia, China, and Germany, you see that they are not only technologically advanced, they do most of their dealings in their native language: Japanese, French, Russian, Chinese, Germany. And, and that it made sense then later when I read about it. Learning in the native language improves cognitive efficiency. And that because it's not directly relevant to our discussion, I need not elaborate on that. But that is with the direct example, we have that at hand. Learning in the native language improve cognitive efficiency, which must be why we have International Mother Language Day, which is recognized by UNESCO and UNICEF and United Nations organizations. It comes on February 21, we have International Mother Language Day. This is one article that I found from the UNICEF site. Why mother tongue education holds the key to unlocking every child's potential. Now, the next aspect that I arrived at when I interviewed a Hindi teacher, which is, as I said, the language spoken by most of the citizens in India, is this the related to mental health crisis in the world. So we know that we have a mental health crisis in the world. There must be a data out somewhere. Or if you don't have a data, you have an observable data on Instagram. I'm not active on Instagram, but if you open Instagram and then you see like immeasurable number of contents on mental health, people giving mental health advices, mental health tips, etc. Uh, and after the pandemic, that is out of question that we have a mental health crisis in the world. It's not even up for objection. And to treat that, many people are increasingly turning to psychology and psychiatry, which is obviously scientific fields, to treat this. People are averse to this feeling of being sad or desperate or being under depression. Depression as a spill, people are averse to that. But humanities, on the other hand, takes a different approach. They teach us to sit with difficult emotions like depression and help us find meaning in them. As society leans more towards scientific solutions, the humanities remain valuable for self reflection and resilience, helping us understand ourselves on a deeper level, which people in the humanities feel would help people to get out of this medical or medicines that they have to take. I don't know how scientifically valid that is. It might even come across as controversial. But I will show you two extracts from two wonderful people. One is from Sarojini Naidu, who was a stateswoman in India, and the next is from James Baldwin. So I'll read one by one. One is from a poem written by Sarojini Naidu, the soul's prayer. Spare me no bliss, no pang of strife, withhold no gift or grief I crave, the intricate lore of love and life and mystic knowledge of the grave. So this is Sarojini Naidu's soul prayer to none other than God. So she's saying that, dear God, no, spare me no bliss, no depression, no happiness, nothing. I want to embrace life as it is with all its sadness and happiness, which is basically saying in a poetic manner that life is comprised of both happiness and sadness. And then we have the quotation by James Baldwin. You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world. But then you read. It was books that taught me that the things that tormented me most were the very things that connected me with all the people who were alive, who had ever been alive. All this is showing that depression is not something to be averse of. So the teacher that I was talking about was pointing out to this specific facet that people are increasingly turning or relying on medicines uh, to find a solution to the mental health problems that they are having, which is science. Medicines, psychiatry is science. So humanities has a different approach to the problem altogether. The approach that can be seen from the two quotations that I've shown on the slide in front of you. Now, not just that, Martha Nussbaum, she was an eminent theorist. She has written uh, this book titled "Not for Profit: Why Democracy Needs the Humanities." Now, that talks about, this is one of the quotation from that book. Philosopher John Stuart Mill was an eminent economist. Everyone knows him. Philosopher John Stuart Mill, as a precocious child, received a superb education in languages, history, and sciences, but this education did not cultivate his emotional or imaginative resources. As a young adult, he suffered a crippling depression. He credited his eventual recovery to the influence of Wordsworth's poetry, which educated his emotions and made it possible for him to look for emotion in others. In later life, Mill developed an account of what he called the religion of humanity, based on the cultivation of sympathy for he had found through his experience of poetry. So that is John Stuart Mill. He is an economist, and as I said, it's largely considered as a social science field. And even he is saying that how Wordsworth poetry has helped him, directly followed from the point that I raised earlier. Please try to recall the points, the quotations by Sarojini Naidu and James Baldwin, if you can. But all this said and done, this won't get the students to enroll for humanities courses. Because we see, as the data has shown, and that the data was from reputed sources. One was from a government site, which said that students are genuinely trying to pursue humanities in the undergraduate field. But when it comes to the postgraduate field, when students normally get serious about career prospects, they do not want to take up humanities. They don't want to continue in the humanities field. Directly related to that, we have the data from the statistics, which shows that the employability prospect for humanities field has gone down to 47%, which is less than half, which is a terrible prospect. So this is the factor that drives and that is going to drive enrollment, employability, not the importance of it. But the importance of it is why it should stay relevant. So I have arrived at some conclusions as to if humanities is staying relevant in Kerala. And I realized that Kerala government has adopted this national education policy NEP 2020, which was formulated in 2020, and it came into effect in 2020. And these are some of the features of it. Some of the positive features of it. One is multidisciplinary approach, integration of humanities with other disciplines like science and technology. This can make humanities more relevant to the real world problems and career paths. And this is trend again is being shown in different parts of the world. Even in India, major eminent institutes of technology, institutes of management, like Indian Institute of Technology or Indian Institute of Management, are offering humanities and social sciences courses right now. Even the institute that I am working, Indian Institute of Management, is having a humanities and liberal arts and management department, which is where I'm working presently as an academic associate. So the multidisciplinary approach is being enhanced by the new national education policy, and it offers increased flexibility. The NEP allows for more flexibility in choosing courses and specializations, giving students more opportunities to pursue their interest in humanities. So this was a choice that students did not have earlier. So now even students who are majoring in physics has an option to do a minor in English or do an additional course in English or do an additional course in any of the humanities field. Now, the other aspect is emphasis on Indian knowledge system, which enriches the study of humanities by incorporating indigenous perspectives and as well as traditions. Now, I did went further on that research and to try to understand how the syllabus looked before Kerala government adopting the NEP and afterwards. And in 2014, just 10 years back, the syllabus revolved mostly around American literature, post-colonial literature. Then, these were some aspects of it, which means it was pure literature, aesthetics, and appreciation, just pure literature. But in 2024, after the adoption of NEP, National New Education Policy, by the state government, we have other things. In addition to what was previously in the syllabus, we have, like for instance, QR studies, digital humanities, forensic linguistics, and natural language processing. So yeah, good changes are coming. Syllabus is being updated as there is digital humanities trying to incorporate technology in the humanities field. But one major challenge that arises at this point is while integrating humanities with technology, and many people are talking about the need of the hour to integrate humanities with technology. I think technology is saving itself by incorporating humanity with technology, not the other way around, because when you talk about digital humanities, it's basically a digital way of doing humanities. Technology needs humanities. It's a digital way of doing humanities. It is not exactly humanizing technology. And what we as beacons or what we are pallbearers of humanities feel are trying to achieve is humanizing of technology. So we need to have a balance between that. And integrating humanities with technology, we must ensure that the focus remains on preserving the unique insights of the humanities rather than just digitizing them. As I said, technology is saving itself by incorporating humanities in it. Because without humanity, without humanizing it, there is no point in technology. There's no point in only talking about robots or artificial intelligence without humanizing it. But in order for humanities to remain relevant, we need to find other original, uh, new ways of humanizing technology. We need to advance this discourse further. So, with that said and done, we reached our end of the slides. And I feel like there are a few questions. Should I take the questions? Oh, sorry, I will take this. Okay. If students believe humanities lack practical application, what projects or activities can demonstrate their real life value? So presently, what Kerala Government Arts and Sciences College have done presently is uh, we broaden the horizon, we broaden the field. For instance, we give them practical ways to work. For instance, digital marketing is a scope, a field that they have presently to put their skills into use. For instance, this language skills that they are learning at classrooms, they can put that into use in the digital marketing field. So we encourage them to go out and pursue opportunities in the digital marketing field, and then make use of their language abilities, language skills to promote an idea or a product so that they can have real world applications. So that is one project that can be done, digital marketing projects. Okay, and when, yeah, we can move to the next question. It says, if students prioritize job skills of humanities studies, how can teachers connect these fields to real world career applications? Yes, it's only truth and only the real truth the students will prioritize job skills of humanities studies, and that is not a problem. Uh, that is an inevitability. And how can teachers connect these fields to real world career applications? Like, for instance, what I mentioned was connecting humanities with other technological fields like digital humanities. And in the present syllabus, we have another aspect called forensic linguistics, which is study of languages in the forensic field, the investigative field. So that is some real world applications that can be highlighted in the case of that. Also, we have content writing and digital marketing fields, which offers innumerable number of opportunities. But the thing is, what is specific to be noted down in this respect is that uh, specifically it is that it should not be about digitalizing. It should not be about digitalizing humanity, but it should be about humanizing technology. So there should be a balance between that. How can the humanities be reframed to appeal to students focused on STEM careers? I think humanities has presently has an appeal to students, especially for people in the STEM field, which is why I said, the Indian Institute of Technologies, IIT is a premium technological institutions in India. And then we have IIMs, Indian Institute of Management, are offering uh, uh, humanities and social sciences departments, humanities and social sciences courses, because at some point, everybody in the technology fields, science, technology, education, max field realize that there is an importance of humanities. I think they uh, conveniently understand that at this point. But we're not but again, as I said, it's not about digitalizing humanities. It should be about humanizing technology. How can we incorporate philosophical inquiry into humanities education to equip students with the critical thinking skills needed to navigate the complexities of the 21st century? So yeah, that's a really good question. So the Koichi Duran, thank you for that question. So he's asked, how can we incorporate philosophical inquiry into humanities education? So when you talk about philosophical inquiry, there are different strands that obviously takes. It takes there is the philosophical inquiry that is modeled from the Western aspects, and then there is philosophical inquiry that's modeled from the Eastern aspects, which are distinctly different with different flavors. So I think all of this should be pursued, and it is not just in the humanities field, but also in the sciences field as well. But if you are incorporating this, try to incorporate different flavors of these philosophical inquiries to studies. For instance, I was part of a batch of 2019, which is uh, prior to the national education policy that was presently adopted by the Kerala government. We were taught philosophical inquiry, but only from the Western perspective or the Western lens. Not the problem, but the limitation with only the Western perspective is that we have a binary. For instance, when we talk about philosophical inquiry that is modeled in the West, we talk about good versus bad. Things have changed, but that is how Western philosophical inquiry develops from. They tend to see things in the good versus bad light. Now, that is not how the Eastern philosophical inquiry is. We have we have the good, the bad, and then we have the gray portion that we embrace. That is how the Indian culture is. That is how the Eastern culture, which is not celebrated in the West. So when we are trying to incorporate philosophical inquiry into our curriculum, we should try to incorporate the philosophical insights from across the globe, which is a multiplicity and which should be embraced, which will bring the richness and improve the critical thinking skills. If I had time, I would have explained more, but I think already exceeded the time. So
Hello, Husna. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. I hope that we were able to facilitate a good discussion between you and the audience.
yeah, it was exceedingly good. Thank you. You were very supportive from the beginning.
Of course. Thank you so much, Husna, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference as well.
Sure. Thank you.